My brethren, I want to give God thanks for you, for your faithfulness and taking the time to listen to these devotions and to share them with friends and loved ones. I thank you so much for what you have done and what you're doing to help others. And thank you for praying for me and for us for the ministry here. And may God continue to use you to bring honor and glory to his name. And if we are sharing anything that has been helpful to you and you wish to communicate with us, remember my number is 1721-580-7792. I repeat that, 1721-580-7792. It is a joy, it's really a joy to be sharing with you daily in these devotions. And for Pastor Collins joining with me and making sure that the work is done in the office, they're prepared to the fullest, music is added, and that you get it in time, that is posted on YouTube. Thank you so much, Pastor Collins, and all you do. Sometimes he is so tired, but he makes sure, sometimes it even runs him into the next day, but he makes sure that it is there. God will bless you, my dear brother. Continue the good work. Some people meet me and say, I don't understand how you do it. It's not me alone. We do it together. There are others that work along with me as we do it. John Peterson, what are the words of the third stanza of your song? Oh, it is wonderful to be a Christian. He said, and the hope of heaven's glory thrilled me so. When I live with Christ forevermore, I know. That is why the things of earth I loosely hold have eternal riches, better far than gold. Oh, it's wonderful to be a Christian. Oh, it's wonderful to be God's child. Oh, it's wonderful to have your sins forgiven. Oh, it's wonderful to be redeemed, justified forever. Yes, it is. And you know what? It is also wonderful for me to sit here and do these devotions and have them ready so that you can share them with your friends and your loved ones. And we are in this together, and I want to thank God for you, for all that you have done, all you're doing, and all that you intend to do for the honor and glory of the Lord. Thank you so much. I call your attention as we continue looking at this matter of communication in the marriage relationship. I call your attention now to James chapter 3. And I want you not to underestimate the danger of that little member in your mouth called the tongue. Don't underestimate the danger of the tongue. Now, the Holy Spirit of God used James to write for us and to tell us about it. And here's what he said. I'm going to read 10 verses from chapter 3 of the book of James. He said, my brethren, notice who he's speaking to. He's speaking to believers. Be not many masters, knowing that ye shall receive the greater condemnation. These days, people love to tell you, I'm in charge. I am the one who's over this. I'm the boss. I am this. I am that. And he said, don't just seek to be boss, because if you're a boss, you're going to answer for how you operated as boss. He said, for in many things ye offend all, and people are so easy to get offended these days. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle his own body. So to offend, people keep saying, you offend me. And you really did not even mean to offend anybody, but they got offended because you said something. You may have said something that needed to be said. You may have said something that was right. You may have said something in correcting certain things, and people say, you offend me. And people believe that you should always apologize because they have been offended. You don't find Jesus apologizing for offending anybody when he was dealing with the truth. He talked in verse number 3, he says, behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. So he said, in the mouth of the horse, there are two little strings tied to it with a rope back there. And whichever way you pull on, to the left, the horse will go to the left. To the right, the horse will go to the right. He said, we control horses by a little bit in their mouth. He went ahead and he talked about ships, and he said, behold also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, Yet are they turned about with a very small helm, ever the governor listed. In the back of the ship, there's a rudder back there. Someone may be all the way up in the captain's room and he's turning a wheel, but in the back, it is connected to the rudder, and it's the rudder that steers the ship. So he said, even so the tongue is a little member and boasted great things. Behold how great a matter a little fire kindleth. Don't underestimate the tongue. He said the tongue is a fire, a wall of iniquity, and this is what we use to communicate with. He said, so is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the coast of nature, and is set on fire of hell. The tongue, boy. Whoo! He said, for many kinds of beasts and of birds and of serpents and of things in the seas tame, and had been tamed of mankind, but the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. The tongue, that's what we use to communicate. He said we use it to bless God, even the Father, and deal with curse we men. So the same tongue bless God, and the same tongue curse men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessings and cursings. My brethren, these things ought not to be, and in relationships, these things are at times. In Proverbs chapter number 3 and verse number 11, the tongue can destroy a person. He said, a hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. Yes, many neighbors are destroyed by someone else using the tongue. Many homes are destroyed. Many families, many children are without fathers because of the tongue. Many husbands have left the house because of the tongue. Many wives have left the house because of the tongue. In Proverbs chapter 12 and verse number 18, the tongue can be used like a sword. There is that speaketh like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. Oh, depends on what is said. It can cut into you like a sword would cut into you. In Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, I'm saying, don't underestimate the tongue. The death of many marriages were committed by the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. In 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 10, don't use the tongue to be deceptive. Guile is to deceive others in a clever way, tricks, cunning, thing, in a way you know is a lie. For in verse 10 of chapter 3, the book of Proverbs, for he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile. Again in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 31, listen to be a good listener. The ear that heareth the reproof of life bideth among the wise. Be a good listener. Think before you speak, not everything that you got to jump up and answer. Some things just need to be left alone. In 18 verse 13, let the person finish what he or she is saying. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Sometimes people want to answer what you say, and when they finish, they thought they knew what you were going to say, and then when you tell them, but that's not what I had in mind, that's not what I wanted to say. And some of them will tell you, sorry, let the person finish speaking first. In Proverbs 18:15, you can easily learn what you don't know by listening. The verse says, the heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. You can learn. I often tell people, you don't learn by speaking, you learn by listening. In Proverbs 19:20, to hear you must keep your mouth shut. Take in what others say, it will help you. Verse 20 of chapter 19, Proverbs, hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. And then the last one for this morning, James 1:19, be quick to listen, but don't be quick to speak. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear and slow to speak. Oh, make sure you understand what you're going to answer before you answer.